Hello, Facebook. Just thought I'd do a quick live here. I'm just chilling out today, about to watch some Breaking Bad, so I thought I'd just jump on and do some live until my mum and sister get back. Then we're going to be watching TV, so I will switch off abruptly when they return. But just to say, what I want to do more of, I'm rebranding my overall company of spiritual entrepreneurship. I was almost thinking of doing it as INFJ entrepreneurship. So I'm an INFJ by Myers-Briggs personality type. It's the rarest type. Although I find a lot of people online are INFJs, and also I'm a highly sensitive person, and that goes in line with being an introvert. And yeah, I just thought it'd be cool just to kind of talk and to share about what that's like for me, and also to connect with people so I can, I guess, authentically talk about my experience and what it's like, and then also to connect. I would actually really like to work with more introvert and INFJ people in my new company. I think in particular it'd be a great thing to do. So I just wanted to do this as part of just me just connecting with people and just basically being me. So I found out. Hello, Dean. I found out I was an INFJ probably about 8 years ago, I think. And then I also discovered I was a highly sensitive person before that when I got quite involved with counselling. I read the book by Elaine Aron called The Highly Sensitive Person. Thank you for the thumbs up, Dean. And yeah, I guess there. So I guess I notice things like just needing quieter sort of surroundings, and like in a way it can, I mean, the INFJ male is like about 0.5%. So you do quite go again. Hello, Diane. You do quite go against the grain in that sense. Hello, Patrick. Hello, Stephanie. And yeah, I noticed, for example, like yesterday, I watched football with my dad, and we're just watching. That's obviously quite stimulating. And then you just have like time alone and time to wind down. So your sort of level of tolerance, your Achilles heel, so to speak, you have a tendency to get overwhelmed. And also, just as an INFJ, I really love time alone, and often like I do really think so much. It's like it's actually hard to almost turn off my thinking. It's like I have like a just a very deep like internal world, and there's always like things like very deep processing, like, and I think of things from just like many different angles. It's like a lot of the time I am in my own internal world in many ways, and that's okay. And it can become difficult sometimes. I mean, I do suffer from anxiety to some degree and depression. So, but I just have a very small amount of medication for that. But I feel really in my niche when I can really just talk and connect with people. I love being a counselor, and I think on my new work too. I'm actually just quite excited about this whole spiritual entrepreneurship and just actually connecting more with people online. And I wanted to make almost like an INFJ, highly sensitive introvert blog of live. So I thought it'd be great to just to be me in that sense. And obviously, people who are introverted can probably connect and can maybe ask things, and we can even have share talks or whatever. And also just yeah, just to connect with anyone else, because I do love a connection with people, even though like as an introvert and INFJ, I do really thrive on time alone as well. So so yeah, that can be a strange kind of paradox, and it can be hard because I really crave authentic connections, but at the same time I really notice kind of problems. Like I guess people I've detached from in the past have maybe wanted to be friends, but I've picked up on certain things and then actually found it necessary to detach. I think I hold myself and then others to actually quite high standards. And I guess with being an INFJ, it's very idealistic. Oh, great! Oh, great, Dean. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that comment. And just so you know, Dean, I will. This is something I want to do regularly, so please log in more. It's just great to connect with, yeah, people having similar, yeah, feelings and stuff, and maybe have a. I don't know if you know if you're an INFJ or not, but definitely look into the Myers-Briggs personality test because it's really useful for just anyone, you know, whatever you are. So yeah, so yeah, and What else about me? But yeah, I just thought it'd be great because, as I said, I'm really into this whole entrepreneurship idea, and I thought I've actually struggled at points, whereas I've really tried to I've really tried to write a lot of content, and as a counsellor, I love to connect with people, and I've been like that almost in my counselling. I help people make that. Oh, okay, Jazzy. So it's on. If you look online at the Myers Briggs personality test. So Myers is Myers, Briggs Breiggs. It's a set of personality characteristics. So it was invented by Carl Jung, the psychiatrist. He's one of my heroes, and he mixes. He gets 16 different personality types. So if you do that, if you do the test, you can find out what your category is, and INFJ is one of those categories. So INFJ stands for introverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging. So you can be like introvert or extrovert. And the other one from intuitive is maybe sensing, I think. And then there's feeling and thinking. And then I think judging, perceiving. And then there's some other ones. So I really recommend you take a look. And also I said too about the highly sensitive person. So INFJ is quite introverted, so it can go along with being highly sensitive as well, Jazzy, sorry. So that's whereas I think it's about 30% of the population have a more highly sensitive nervous system. So you could maybe also do a test to see if you're highly sensitive as well. So I said I was putting out a lot of general content from counselling, just to connect with people and stuff. I think that might be mum or sister back, I'm not sure. Or maybe it's dad. We'll see anyway. But yeah, I was struggling to connect on a more I guess I wanted to start to talk about things, whereas I was just actually being me as well. And I was trying to think, what would that be? And I thought for me, because I am an INFJ, and that's again, I can be quite hidden away. I really want to like help people and stuff, and I am actually good at that in my counselling. But sometimes in counselling, you're not complete. You share parts of you, but not fully. And so I thought if I just talk about actually my experience of being an INFJ as well, that would be quite cool. And people are like learning, but it's actually me connecting about what it's like for me. Oh, okay, Jazzy, that's nice to know. Well, it's really wonderful. Two people have said that, so that's made it quite worthwhile. Um, Already. So yeah, so I noticed, for example, with this, like in my work, I help people recover from narcissistic abuse. That's one of my main therapy niches. And I guess with that, like INFJs are the most commonly abused in that sense because we operate on a very this hidden away, like in a world of intuitions and stuff, which is not really as highly like society typically operates on this more scientific and this very rationalizing kind of thing, and INFJs are a lot more just kind of like soulful and like looking at different looking at different like possibilities and almost living this like introverted world is quite unusual, and there's lots of just more I know something we associate almost more like psychic content and really thinking things on a different type of level, and it's just an unusual place, and you sometimes you just operating on that intuitive space, it does really go against society grain. So it's I guess it can be quite a lonely place to be, and as I said, because it's very contradictory, because you actually really, I mean, I love people, I want to be I'm a counsellor, it was one of my dreams to be a counsellor, this really longing to connect, but at the same time actually struggling to connect again with just holding people to like maybe a higher standard, and just really noticing things too that other people would never notice. I had a big thing many years ago now, but it really led me on my journey with therapy, whereas I had to detach from like somebody thought of me as a close friend, but there were certain things he did, like how he joked about certain things, and I just sensed, I intuitively felt there was something wrong, and what it did to me energetically was so damaging because people have that counts as perfectly null and don't realize they're like, yeah, sure, Dean. I totally agree. And if I can say, Dean, part of actually my attraction to counselling when I found out about it, and got interested in, because I had counselling myself when I was 21, 22. And I guess one of the reasons I loved it was because it is a whole personal development journey. So I've had ongoing counselling since then. Not regular like with deeper issues, but just about my experience about being an INFJ, recovering from different like past things. Yeah, so it's yeah, definitely. I think it can too, Dean. Yeah, you're right. People can sort of think, oh, counsellors have just got things figured out. But yeah, you're. I think with counselling though, when you if I can share, when you actually become a counsellor, you do a lot of personal development stuff. So it's almost like, I guess you almost get to a kind of, I guess like where I'm at now, different things come up obviously, but you maybe get to a level of a steady grip, so like you're aware things may shake you up, but then you're kind of in a place where if they do, you'll get some needed support. I mean, I guess you ultimately become maybe a kind of person where you're just, you have some level of awareness of life, whereas, how can I say? You're kind of aware of ups and downs. You're aware things may happen, and you have a support network, or you have a willingness to seek support, but not like, hey, you've suddenly got to some enlightened place and oh, that's it, and you're just okay then, because that never happens. So yeah, I've always had, I speak to a mentor quite regularly. So a bit of a diagnosis, post-traumatic stress. Being has been a huge part of the journey. Okay, wow, thank you for that. You have learned about yourself. Yeah, for sure, Dean. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so post-traumatic stress disorder, I've had that too, Jazzy. In my relationship with a narcissist, I had symptoms of post-traumatic stress. I'll just say I don't know too much about dissociative identity disorder. I have heard about that, but it's wonderful to hear you've integrated it. And yeah, I found for me, finding out I was a highly sensitive person was a huge part of my journey too. It really helped me just with understanding like how the fact that I was very sensitive, like the whole notion of too sensitive is nonsense, because you can't be too sensitive. You're just, yeah, different levels of sensitivity, and that's absolutely fine. And that was a really big thing for me. And just to be able to own that, like things did distress me when it was too intense an environment. And that's actually okay. That was part of my Achilles heel. It was part of me being a highly sensitive person. But on the opposite side to that, it meant I was a very, in my small groups of friends, I could be a very confident kind of person. I could be, I could really keep myself very calm in the situations of stress. And also I really thrived in introverted things, like really focused with reading or certain writings and etc. etc. So I guess for me, just integrating the whole idea of highly sensitive, and that's okay. That's just part of. It's not a better or worse thing. It's just part of who you are and what you bring to the world, and it's really. I found it really great to recognize that, because I found in my journey there was that thing like, which I think is really common, just a more aspiring to be extrovert. And that's something I'll say is quite interesting with the INFJ, because I guess like I'm talking now, I could almost come across as being extrovert, and they said INFJs can come across as being extrovert because your emotions can come across like out. How could I say? Your emotions can be expressed more externally, so you can sometimes see really like almost active and very excited. And I can, when I'm watching like football, I get like really, really excited and stuff. But like, I'm actually a deep introverted person in many ways. So yeah, that's kind of interesting, because that can as well is something to deal with, and also affects people's perceptions, because maybe they can expect more extrovert behavior more ongoing, but more people get to know me, I'm actually can quite be very private and keep myself to myself, and again that's just okay. So again, I just thought again I'm thinking of making my new brand. So what I want to do in that is just lots of sharing. I thought in the last minute of maybe changing it to INFJ entrepreneurship, but it's going to be introvert entrepreneurship. And I thought as part of that, maybe almost like a nice foundation of my sharing can be maybe just talking about the experience of being an INFJ and a highly sensitive person, particularly like a guy as well. And then I just do general sharing, because I'm a counsellor, and I just love all like helping people in my work. So in my work now, I'm a counsellor. I'm also doing this online business where I help people to live on their own terms by creating an online business. And I've got different interviews set up. Like I have a passion around I've got an interview around 9/11 in a few weeks, which I'm really excited about. I have someone set up who's does a lot of work helping the LGBT community. Well, just to show, I'm a heterosexual person, but I very much see myself as an ally for that community. And obviously, their mental health and whatever is so, because obviously the condemning by society, which is thankfully getting better, but it's that's something I really want to be an ally for. And also, I've got an interview lined up around someone who does UFO sightings in Auckland. And what else? And I've got an interview set up next week with someone who does a different online business and just talking about her experience and how well she's doing. So I just want to develop into being, I guess, spiritual entrepreneurship. I like 'cause it's very overarching, but just I guess with me as an INFJ as centre. So I'm just setting up my new website, and I've got a meeting with a coach coming up, which I'm going to do a bit more work on, to do more work on myself. And I'm like just uncovering my blocks, because whereas I've done a lot of work on myself, there's a lot I think to keep like different blocks around money and stuff, I think is still quite there, to learn to just value myself more in that sense. Um, and yeah, so I'm just keen to just it's been quite a journey the last few months of just like I guess learning my new company and going deeper into this personal development experience. And it's been like, whereas I've been working as a counsellor, like working towards my own authenticity and helping people, this new work I've been doing, it's almost like it's become a deeper authenticity, whereas I'm trying to, like this now is sharing more, actually from a more personal space in a way, because it's not just teaching, it's like going into I want to tap more into my personal experience, which is actually quite hard, because it's part that's maybe been a bit more closed off than I would like. And I guess it's sort of that identity switching away a bit from my counsellor identity, because I still love that, but I guess I just want to be an overall, maybe me and my brand as a kind of just extension of me, and just a general helping person, so to speak. And I guess someone who has their own couple of businesses, and also okay, thank you for the heart, Dallas, but also does work like I mean, I really like philanthropy work, so I've done work helping people in Thailand, supported refugees, and I just want to keep up this whole brand and stuff. So that's it. So I just wanted to do a check-in about that. It's been really nice to have a few people watching, and please I really appreciate the comments, so please anyone feel free to just to write anything you maybe liked about the talk, and also just things speaking real talk. That's what I'm really trying to do, Dallas. As I said, it's like it's I'm just speaking congruently of my experience, because I always try to be open, honest, and authentic. But as I said, it's like for me, the experience I'm having is almost this bit of stepping back a bit from just being a counsellor, of just like when I counsel people one-to-one, I do shares which I know will be helpful because I want to help them. But it's like more, I guess, trying to connect. So I'm like helping people. So I still want to teach stuff, but also, it is, Dean. I totally agree. It's like, I think for me, it's almost getting to that bit of a deeper level of just, and that's why I thought again, like, lived experience most day. Totally agree. Like, but I just sort of thought about because it's so much part of me being an INFJ and highly sensitive person, just to maybe talk about what that experience is sort of like, and maybe as a guy, it's quite odd because it's just quite against the grain and stuff, and maybe just to talk about what that's like, and maybe to almost go from that space feels good. So that's about all for say. And also, like, good, because honestly, my brand, so what I want to be about, if I can just say, because it's great, we've had a few watchers, is just about, it's all about like I'm all about trying to like help people to be their best self, again through my few businesses, also about like my philanthropy work, and I just want to keep doing different lives. And feel free to sort of like comment anything you'd like me to share about blokes you're not talking about. Yeah, I totally agree, Dean. I think like I mean, I guess I can sort of say, not being big-headed, I'm always someone who's tried to, and I think it's part of my, in terms of my causes, I can be like a confident, and I always definitely want to. I've always so validated the importance of that. But as I said, it's almost awkward as a counsellor. You can be a bit, I find I can get a bit locked away, and it's and that's why I thought now I'm stepping back into away from that role a little bit while still keeping it. It's like, I guess I want to connect from that space. I guess like talking to you people here, sorry, you people like the watchers here. I guess I want to talk as just Phil, who is a counsellor and does this other business, but just from the Phil space, if that makes sense. Share more around the often taboo subject. You see that? Oh, totally. Yeah, Dallas. That's like a huge thing. And honestly, that's something I'd love to be able to help more in New Zealand. If you or anyone have ideas of how we can kind of tackle this a bit, I would I would love to do more to help that, because it's massive and it's something I'd really like to expand into in my work. And I don't know. We'll just stay on my. I'll be really honest. I'm just waiting for my mum and sister to come back, and I will just end then. But so with youth suicide, I mean, I don't know why that's so bad in New Zealand. I mean, I think we live in an amazing country. It's just, it perplexes me. Take care not to get too close after him, but on a personal level, you can. Yes, of course. Yeah. So how we do, Dean? Like, yeah, in sessions. I mean, I am very person centered. But it's important. Like, I share in therapy. We share when it's helpful. So if someone talks about something and you relate an experience from that heart of, I really want to help you, but you really validate the other person's experience, and then you just share when it's appropriate. Okay, but again, now taking this step back, I want you to see Phil. Yeah, I happen to be a counsellor, so if someone wanted to contact me and say, "Oh, I'd really like to have it," that would be okay. But then you'd almost see an authentic Phil, but a slightly different Phil, because I wouldn't talk like this, because it wouldn't really help you in a counselling session if you wanted to come and talk about depression or something. But yeah, that's what it's like. So yeah, I mean, with youth suicide, I don't know why that's so bad. I think New Zealand's such an amazing country. I don't know if I don't know. Sometimes people say about a lack of identity in New Zealand. One of my close counselling colleagues, if I can just say, had a really interesting view, saying how it was she felt something about being brought up in a way that it doesn't, how can I say, you don't get used to kind of, John Cohen, maybe more youth mentors. Yeah, I think that would be great. Yeah, I'd love to do more stuff like that. I worked a lot with young people in the UK. I was really passionate about it, and I'd really like to branch out more in New Zealand somehow to do that, but I'm not sure how. But yeah, she felt it was, and there was a thing whereas how like people not getting used to losing, which I found really quite curious. It was one of my colleagues. She had this idea of how she thought it was really bad that, like, in schools, for example, how people always get an award wherever they finish, and she felt there was a lack of ingraining of just that you weren't very good at something, and that's okay. Like, you maybe came last in a subject and you finished last, you weren't good at it, and that's actually completely fine. But like this sort of sense of just rewarding people the same, she felt there was some lack of resilience, which I found like quite maybe curious, perhaps interesting. But yeah, it's strange. I mean, I feel like the lifestyle we have in New Zealand, I always feel it's a kind of place, I would say, unlike the UK in many ways. It's not quite as consumerist, and I always feel it's a kind of place whereas you can have a good lifestyle without much money. I don't know what the undercurrent is. And my counselling supervisor said once how he just thought New Zealand generally had a dark undercurrent. He said often like the methods of suicide and stuff. Yeah, definitely. I would totally agree with that around mental health and wellness. Yeah, there was a thing, Dallas, on the Pure. I'll have an interview live in a few weeks about with my friend Jim Marjoram, who's very prominent in the LGBT community. He's great. He supported lots of people, and it was curious. He hadn't done this, but someone had spoke about that when I did a bit of a counselling certificate a while back, and someone spoke about a thing helping LGBT people particularly, and there was a program for a short time that actually ran in schools where it was about supporting a friend who might be coming out as being gay, and apparently it apparently did really well, and even when it was reviewed further down the line, just people talking about how good this program was, but then it got cancelled. But I just thought that was great, and apparently I think there are just purely focusing on that community. There's some other stuff like that going on, but yeah, not actually that program. But yeah, I think like things I'm doing now, Dallas, around like we have a lot of stuff now we do around. I'm doing working more on this coaching, thriving level about morning routine and practicing gratitude and really noticing thought patterns and stuff. And yeah, I think a lot of maybe grounding practical work like that. We used to have a subject called personal social education at school. It wasn't that great, but I think that sort of practice more. Again, I don't know. I'm not involved in the school system these days, so I don't know if there's more. What actually is the gap? But yeah, I think definitely there must be. I always feel on this area, Dallas, there must be some very simple things like something like you've said that could make a huge difference. And I'm not sure exactly what that missing thing is, but I bet some sort of program coming out of somewhere could seriously impact this, because there must just be some small, some small but major things that could just be hacked into that could surely really enhance this. Just a general checking around wellness and somehow just creating a greater kindness and empathy. I always feel empathy is the glue that binds us. Could really help. But yeah, that's something. Yeah, I'd love to do more to help. I think would be really great. Yeah. So yeah, I agree. There needs to be more awareness around youth mental health. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay, great. Well, look, it's been wonderful to check in, and again, I just wanted to do this bit of an intro to the highly sensitive INFJ theme, and thank you so much, everyone, for your comments. And I guess I'm just introducing more about where I'm at and what I'm up to now. And please, remove the stigma and anxiety. Yes, sure. Get young people talking. Totally, absolutely agree. I think just that being able to express if you're feeling crappy. Their programs block everything. There's a lack of funding or effort to make them more available. Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And maybe this is something, as I said, like I'm really. I mean, I guess I hope I've shared a little bit about me and what I'm about and the sort of work I'm doing and want to be more involved with. So look, this is just Phil talking as Phil now, as like trying to extend this brand as spiritual entrepreneur. Phil, look, if anyone has any ideas about something they want to implement and want to work together, yeah, just flick me a message or something. Yeah, that'd be great. But I guess I just wanted to do this check-in, just talking about me and what I'm up to. So as you know, my passion is all about, just to say, so I'm an INFJ, I'm an introvert. I love this idea of entrepreneurship. I'm branching more into. I love being a counsellor, and I've set up this thing helping refugees in Thailand. I want to do more work like that, and I just love. I just want to. Oh yeah, great, Dean. Yeah, super. And also, let me know any particular things anyone's interested in for interviews. I'll get people on. So I'll advertise them well. My next one next week is with a lady called Sarah. Oh, thank you, Jazzy. She's running a success, not with my company, with another company. She's running a successful online business. So she's just going to talk about how she's doing that. Because the online business is a thing that quite goes against the grain, but I think it's great. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Dallas. And great. I hope to do more check-ins, and feel free to message and let me know any just questions or, yeah, just any way you may want to link up and work together someday. That'd be super. And yeah, I just want to I just love trying to make the world better. I want to keep promote our business. And two, something I'm working on and what I want to share. I had an interview lined up for today, but a lady had to cancel. But she was really interested in the idea of money and spirituality, and that's a really super thing I'm actually getting more into, because I'm noticing as a spiritual person, I've had blocks around money which I'm working with, and this is like actually really cool, and it feels weird to say it because I still have blocks around it, but getting used to the idea of working to actually and have no problem with actually being a rich person or working to be a rich person while wanting to help people loads and make the world better, and knowing that they can go totally hand in hand without any issue. And this lady particularly talks and mentors on that. I even feel weird saying it because I still got some blocks on that level, but that's what particularly her deal was about. So she was scheduled today, but she had a bit of an emergency and had to cancel, but she'll be coming up. I've got this wonderful guy who talks about 9/11. That's something I have very strong views on. That was yeah, and I basically agree with his kind of stance. He'll be coming on in a couple of weeks, and next week Sarah, and I'll have Jim from the LGBT community in about a month, and a speaker about UFOs coming on soon too, which is a bit of a geek, not to berate it, but it's a bit of a geeky passion I had from my young days when I was in my early teens. So I guess I see it as all trying to express me as much as possible. So this is going to be reuniting young geeky Phil as well. Okay, right, well, take care, everyone. Thank you so much for your views and comments, and hope to interact and speak to everyone more. And anyone, feel free to message me anything on comments or just on, on any kind of private message or whatever. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.